Trying to grow a YouTube channel can feel incredibly difficult, almost impossible at times. Trust me, I know, I've been there. When I first started this channel, I had no idea what I was doing, but I slowly gained momentum, and this channel has now grown to over 1.6 million subscribers. I'm now full-time on YouTube. I work with some incredible brands. I get to travel the world, and I've turned my passion into a career. If only I knew back then what I know now, I could have saved myself a whole bunch of time. So in this video, I'm going to save you that struggle and help you fast track your YouTube success. I'm going to share with you 5 pro tips to help accelerate your growth, beginner mistakes you absolutely need to avoid, and finally, the hard truths about YouTube. If you can get through that last part without being put off, then YouTube is probably the right place for you. Okay, let's jump straight in, starting by answering a very important question, and that is, how can you start growing your YouTube channel much faster? Well, the first thing you should do is make sure your video ideas are good. Start creating videos that people actually want to watch. Start creating videos that people are searching for. We'll call this ideation. If the video idea is bad, it doesn't matter how well your video is shot, how good the lighting or editing is, nobody is going to watch it. So how can we come up with good video ideas, videos that people are searching for? Well, the best free way is to simply head over to YouTube. Now, let's pretend for a second that I have a cooking channel, Cook with Steve. There we go. Now, let's say I'm looking for some video ideas. How can I increase my chances of getting the most views possible and growing my YouTube channel? Well, for this, I'm going to put myself in my audience's shoes. What questions do my audience have, and what are they searching for? Now, remember, YouTube is owned by Google, the world's largest search engine, and YouTube is the second largest search engine. This is where people are going to find information. So if you can get your videos at the top of people's search results, then your videos are far more likely to be clicked. So to find out what people are looking for and to come up with some highly searched video ideas, we're simply going to start typing into the YouTube search bar. How about how to cook? And look, here we go. Look at all these suggestions that have popped up. How to cook beans, how to cook curry chicken, dumplings. As you type your query, YouTube's autocomplete feature suggests popular search terms related to what you're typing. These suggestions are based on the most commonly searched terms by other users and can give you a really good idea of what people are interested in. And all of these are video ideas. These would be great video titles for a YouTube channel about cooking. I find going a bit more niche with this really helps. So for example, rather than going with how to cook steak, try niching down to how to cook steak at home for beginners. It's more focused and gives people a better understanding of who the video is for. Never underestimate the power of a highly searched topic with an eye-catching and easy-to-read title. Always come up with your video title before you hit record. This ensures that you have a clear understanding of your target audience, allowing you to tailor your language in a way that resonates best with them. This will help you grow much faster. There are many other tools out there to help you come up with video ideas. The YouTube Studio app is another great free way. This has a research section that gives you video ideas based on what your audience are searching for. vidIQ is something that I use all the time for keyword research and video ideas. This will show you highly searched topics with low competition, giving you much more chance of success. You can sign up for free with limited access or upgrade to a subscription for more advanced features. But the main takeaway here is that you do your research before you hit record. This way you'll know exactly what your video is going to be about. You'll know that people are searching for it, and you can tailor it to that specific audience. Okay, let's talk about the hook. Your video's hook is what grabs your viewers' attention and keeps them watching. So make sure you start your video strong with a compelling hook that addresses a problem or piques curiosity. Whether it's a shocking statistic, a captivating story, or a tantalizing promise, make sure your hook entices viewers to stick around. Take this video here, for example. I scripted the opening to this video word for word to help me deliver a clear and concise hook. Instead of just hitting record and hoping that I would come up with something captivating off the top of my head, I pre-planned what I was going to say. Viewers are far more likely to stay engaged throughout the video if they're hooked from the beginning. So I started the video by asking questions that I knew my audience would want answering. What's the secret to rapid growth on YouTube? How can you quickly gain subscribers, get more views? How can you create videos that people actually want to watch and keep them coming back? I then made a promise. Well, in this video, I'm going to be sharing tips that you can implement right now. Now, tips that have helped skyrocket this channel to over 1.4 million subscribers, so I know they work and they will work for you too, validating that these tips do actually work. As well as this, I also added lots of engaging B-roll and sound effects. No shot holds for longer than a couple of seconds. And remember, this is just the opening of your video, the hook. Put a good chunk of your time and effort into the first 30 seconds of your video. With a dull and boring hook in an endless sea of content, people just aren't going to stick around if the first 30 seconds of your video suck. Now, let me give you an example of how not to start a YouTube video. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's great to see you all here. Today, we're going to be talking about YouTube and tips for growing on YouTube. But before I do that, I'm just going to quickly go make myself a cup of coffee and then tell you about a ton of unrelated crap that serves no purpose to this video. I'll be right back. Please don't waste people's time. Get to the point as quickly as possible. Sure, use your hook to tease what the video is about and what's coming up, affirming to the viewer that they've clicked on the right video, but then get straight into the video. A strong hook sets the tone for the video and establishes a connection with the audience. It grabs their attention and entices them to continue watching to find out more, which then leads to one of the best ways to grow a YouTube channel much faster, and that's watch time. Watch time is crucial on YouTube because it directly impacts a video's performance and visibility on the platform. If your video sucks and people click away after 20 seconds, this will signal to YouTube that the video is bad and the algorithm won't share it or recommend it to others. However, if people are watching your video all the way to the end, then this signals to YouTube that this video is good and it starts sharing it with much larger audiences all over the world, making it much more likely to go viral. So, keeping people watching or your watch time is a great hack for channel growth. But how do you keep people watching? Well, cut the fluff and keep your content concise and to the point. Provide consistent value from start to finish to encourage viewers to watch your video all the way through. It's important to find the right balance between video length and content depth. While longer videos can potentially accumulate more watch time, ensure that the content remains engaging throughout to retain your viewers' interest. A shorter good video that people watch all the way to the end will perform better than a longer video that nobody watches. Be sure to organize your content in a clear and structured way. Use a hook like what we've talked about. Take this video here, for example. I've broken the video down into 5 tips to help make the information easier to digest. You could add some creative transitions, maybe some sound effects, anything to help keep your viewers engaged. The style and the way in which you do this will depend on your audience, but just make sure that your video flows well. Make sure that you have good audio in your videos. If your audio sounds terrible like this, then nobody is going to watch. Also, when you get to the end of your video, always recommend another video to your viewer. If you can get them to watch another video, this will double your watch time, which will massively help with growth. This is how channels blow up. They create bingeable content. You could, for example, say something along the lines of, so those were just a few quick tips on how to grow a YouTube channel much faster. If you'd like to learn more about growing on YouTube, then be sure to watch this video here, where I reveal the secret used by big YouTubers to get millions of subscribers. Now, that is a much better way to end a YouTube video compared to, okay guys, hope you enjoyed that video. See you later. A completely wasted opportunity. If someone has watched your video all the way to the end, then they obviously like your videos and your style, so they're perfectly primed to watch another one. Sometimes people just need a little nudge, a suggestion. So be sure to recommend another one of your videos and you'll be amazed at what difference it makes to your watch time and the growth of your channel. Now, without doubt, one of the most overlooked parts of YouTube when first starting out is audio. Whether this is having your microphone too far away or just using cheap sounding background music in your videos, sound is as important, if not more important, than the visuals. People will excuse a slightly lower resolution image if the audio sounds professional, but even if your image looks crisp, with terrible sound and audio, people just aren't going to watch, killing your audience retention and your chances of success on YouTube. Okay, moving on, editing. Now, speaking of keeping your viewers engaged, let's talk about editing. A well-edited video can make all the difference in retaining viewers' attention. Cut out any unnecessary pauses or rambling segments to keep your content tight and focused. Editing your video so that it holds attention and isn't full of awkward pauses is going to make your video much more enjoyable to watch. It's going to increase the production value of your videos. Also, you don't need expensive, fancy editing software for this. There are some great free editing programs out there that will do everything you need and more to get you started on YouTube. DaVinci Resolve, CapCut, iMovie, all perfect when first starting out, I will link them below. Take time to learn basic editing techniques, experiment with different editing styles, effects, and transitions to find a style that suits your content, your audience, and enhances your storytelling. Develop a consistent editing style that reflects your brand and resonates with your audience. This helps build brand recognition and makes your videos more memorable. Also, focus on producing high-quality content rather than just churning out a load of rubbish. Invest time in editing to ensure that your videos are polished and professional, which will ultimately attract and retain more viewers. Good editing will come with practice in time. I have an entire video dedicated to editing tips. I will also link that below. Okay, number 5, packaging. Arguably the most important part of this process, packaging. How are you going to present your video to your audience? It's crucial to present your video in an appealing and eye-catching way. It doesn't matter how good your video is, if nobody clicks on it, it will never be seen. So let's design 2 thumbnails, one terrible one and one much more clickable. I'll then show you why one works much better than the other. How about we stick with the cooking theme and design a thumbnail for our how to cook steak at home for beginners video. Let's start with the terrible thumbnail. So I've got an image of a steak, not a very good one though. It doesn't look particularly appetizing and it's poorly framed. Now let's add the title of the video to the thumbnail, but in a font that's way too small and hard to read. Remember, people are most likely going to be viewing this thumbnail on a phone, so it needs to be extremely clear when small, which this is not. And finally, let's add a cheap and tacky looking border of flames, because flames equal cooking, right? There's at least some logic there. And there we have it, one terrible looking thumbnail. Now let's improve this and create a thumbnail that's much more eye-catching and clickable. So let's start off with a much more appetizing image of a steak. There we go, much better. Now instead of just repeating the title of the video in the thumbnail and pointlessly repeating ourselves, let's add the perfect steak in a much bigger and easier to read font. This is far more enticing. Already this is looking much better. We have a much more balanced image. Now let's really help draw the eye to this steak by adding an arrow pointing to the steak like this. Also, not that this is a real video for a real YouTube channel, but if it was, the color of this arrow and text would match the channel's branding for a much more consistent and professional feel. And just as a little extra, I'm going to add the channel logo in the top right hand corner of the thumbnail. This is something that I do with all of my videos so that they stand out, instantly making them much more recognizable to my subscribers. Again, giving my thumbnails a much more consistent and unique look. So which video are you more likely to click on? I don't know about you, but I'm far more likely to click on the second thumbnail compared to the first. Exactly the same video, 2 very different thumbnails. One is a cheap looking illegible mess, and the other is a slick looking, easy to read, eye-catching equivalent, giving your videos a far greater chance of success. Okay, so now that you've had a crash course in growing your YouTube channel, now let's flip it. Sometimes it's not about what you do, but what you don't do. So here are 5 mistakes that I see beginners making all of the time, and yes, I've made pretty much every single one of these. If you can avoid these, you'll save yourself months, maybe even years of frustration, starting with perfectionism. Now, this is a big one and still something that I struggle with today. When I first started this YouTube channel, I was obsessed with getting everything perfect. I invested in a good camera, I bought studio lights so that my talking head shot would look slick and professional. I spent £300 on Final Cut Pro so that I could edit my videos to look the best they could be, and I assumed that as long as my production quality was high, success would follow. But the reality is, focusing too much on production quality early on was a mistake. Now, don't get me wrong, high quality visuals and sound are important, but they're not the most critical factor for growing your channel in the beginning. I spent so much time and energy perfecting every shot whilst out on shoots, then I'd bring all of that footage back and do exactly the same again in the edit, and I neglected the most crucial aspect, and that's creating consistent, valuable content. I posted my first 2 videos to this channel on May the 6th, 2017, and they took me ages to create. These are still up, by the way. You can go back and take a look if you fancy a giggle. But then I didn't post another video until January 2018, almost a year later, and this was for 2 reasons. The first was that I just didn't think my first 2 videos were good enough. The second was because these videos just didn't perform very well. They barely got any views, and they took me a long time to create, so I deemed them failures. Or in other words, I was struggling with perfectionism. Okay, this is screen test 1. Let's try and make the back darker. Too contrasty. I just need a fill. I think it's good, and a backlight. For some ludicrous reason, I thought that my first 2 YouTube videos would go viral, skyrocket my success on YouTube, and that just didn't happen. And when it didn't, it really dented my confidence and I stopped uploading. And as a result, I was missing out on opportunities to grow my audience and build a community because I was far too focused on the technical details. So what's the lesson here? Well, instead of stressing over getting everything perfect from the start, focus on delivering content that resonates with your audience. Consistency is key. You can always improve production quality over time as your channel grows. Remember, content value and regular uploads are far more important in the early stages than having a perfect setup. Prioritize your content and connection with your audience and let the technical details follow. Okay, number 2, let's talk about titles and thumbnails because it genuinely breaks me just how much YouTube depends on these 2 elements. But the reality is, even if your video is an absolute banger, it won't get noticed unless the title and thumbnail grab your audience's attention. If people don't click on your video, they won't have a chance to watch it. Doesn't matter how good your video is, it could be the best video on YouTube, but if no one clicks on it, it won't get any views and YouTube will bury it. I really wish I'd have known just how important it is to plan your title and thumbnail before creating your video. In the beginning, I'd come up with my title and thumbnail whilst literally uploading it to YouTube, which is by far the worst thing you can do, a really inefficient approach. Creating a video can take a lot of time, days, sometimes weeks, especially if it involves detailed research, filming in multiple locations, the editing, putting all that time and effort into a video, then only thinking about the title and thumbnail at the end is a bit like buying some delicious ingredients for a meal, cooking it to perfection, and then putting it all in a blender. It's just never going to work and quite frankly, tastes disgusting. So these days I make sure to focus on the title and thumbnail before even hitting record. Then once I have a compelling title and thumbnail idea, something intriguing, something that will add value and something that I know my audience will enjoy, then I move on to outline and write that video. This approach is much more effective and saves a lot of wasted time. I am always coming up with video titles and ideas. This is where every video begins. I've got a list of titles on my phone of potential video ideas, and once I land on one that I think could work, then I start to think about what the thumbnail for that video would look like. If you can come up with an intriguing title and eye-catching thumbnail, you're already onto a winning formula. I recommend thinking about your target audience right from the start. Your video isn't meant to be for everyone. It's aimed at people who, well, at least in my case, are into video production and content creation, so the title and thumbnail should be tailored to what resonates with this specific audience. For example, a bright, colorful thumbnail might work for a children's video, but it wouldn't fit for an educational video like this one. So instead, think about what will appeal to your audience and align with your content's niche. Also, I'm really keen to check out your YouTube channel, so make sure that you link them in the comments section below, and I'll head over and check out your titles and thumbnails. And if there are any tips that I can give you or any big mistakes I feel like that you're making, I'll be sure to let you know. Okay, moving on. Number 3, not understanding the importance of viewer retention. Now, when I first started this YouTube channel, I thought that the key to growth was simple. Get as many views and subscribers as possible, but there was one crucial element that I completely overlooked: viewer retention. I was so focused on driving traffic to my videos that I didn't think about how long people were actually staying to watch, and there's a huge problem with this. YouTube's algorithm prioritizes content that keeps viewers engaged. If people click on your video but only watch for a few seconds before leaving, YouTube takes this as a signal that your content is a giant pile of shit, and it quite simply just won't promote or share your videos. For example, I used to think that if I got 5,000 views on a video, it was a success, but what I didn't realize was that many of those viewers were dropping off after the first 30 seconds. My videos weren't keeping them engaged, and this was seriously affecting the channel's performance. So, how do you keep people watching? Well, let's quickly break it down into 3 key areas. The first is your hook. You need to grab your viewers' attention in the first few seconds of the video. This could be with a compelling question, a bold statement, or a teaser for what's coming up. For example, if you're doing a tutorial, start by showing the final result right away to make people curious about how you achieve it. Think of it a bit like a trailer for a movie. It needs to make people want to stick around to watch the whole thing. Next is pacing. If your video drags on or feels slow, viewers are going to click away. Keep things moving and cut out any unnecessary filler. If you're explaining something, get to the point quickly and don't don't be afraid to break up your content with B-roll, graphics, or even a little bit of humor to keep it more engaging. Okay, and finally, storytelling and structure. Even if your video isn't a story in the most traditional sense, start to think of it like one. Your content should have a clear beginning, middle, and end. When your video flows like a story, viewers are far more likely to stay engaged because they're invested in the outcome. Or break up your content into sections, a bit like this one. Move through them at a steady, engaging pace. For instance, if you're explaining a tutorial, don't linger too long on any one step. Keep things moving so that your audience stays focused. Okay, number 4, working with brands. Now, if you're planning to grow your YouTube channel, which I'm assuming you are if you've made it this far into the video, then at some point brands will start to reach out to collaborate with you. And for me, this happened at around about 15,000 subscribers, and this can be a very exciting time. I specifically remember the first time I received an email from a brand saying that we've seen your videos, we're big fans, and we would love to work with you. Now, at the beginning, this was just in the form of free products, no offer of sponsorships or brand deals, but this was a sign that the channel was working, and I knew that if I just carried on this track, then sponsorships would follow. And at the time, I was working full-time, trying to juggle making YouTube videos, and the thought of making a part-time or even a full-time income from YouTube was incredibly exciting. But the mistake I made was creating content around a particular product just because that brand had reached out with that product, and that's completely the wrong way to do it. I made this mistake once and I promised I would never do it again. So now I have a completely different approach when it comes to working with brands, and it's one that works much better for not only myself but also the audience and the brand. And that is when a brand reaches out for a collaboration, I then look at my list of already planned video ideas. Normally I have the next 4 ideas locked in and ready to go, and I see whether that product or service would organically fit into any of these planned videos. And if they don't, or it feels like the video would be too forced with that product, then I simply say no. That way I'm only making the videos that I want to make, the ones that I've already planned, and the ones that best serve my audience. The number one question I always ask myself is this a product or service that either myself or my audience would use and get value from? Just as an example, here are a couple of random emails that I've received over the last couple of weeks from brands. Will you help us promote our lawnmower? Will you help us promote this electric bike? Will you help us promote our cutlery? Or look at this one here. This is a table that slides over your bed. My nan literally has this table. Now, don't get me wrong, I could easily figure out a way to integrate products like these into my content, but it would just feel way too forced because I don't have any videos planned where I feature a lawnmower, an electric bike, or cutlery, so I'd be changing my content to best suit the brand. Whereas if I've got a video coming up titled How to Shoot Urban B-roll using a smartphone gimbal, then integrating a gimbal into that video would feel much more organic. Also, never agree to feature any product in your video unless you have tested that product in real-world scenarios. This is really important. You don't want to recommend a product to someone that you've never actually tested. That's crazy. Don't expect people to spend their hard-earned money on something that you've never tested. So, another rule that I have is that I will never agree to feature any product unless I've been using it for at least a couple of weeks. That way, if I do feature it, I can honestly talk about my experience, including the pros and the cons. Okay, right, moving on. The next mistake, number 5, relying too much on one content format. Now, when I first started YouTube, I focused on one type of content that was performing well initially. However, as trends changed and viewer preferences evolved, my channel suffered because I hadn't diversified my content. Relying on a single content format made my channel less adaptable to changes in audience interests and platform trends, ultimately limiting long-term growth. So, what did I do to fix this? Well, I created content pillars. What are content pillars? Content pillars are key themes or topics that serve as the foundation for your content strategy. They help organize and guide the creation of your content by focusing on core areas that are important to your audience and align with your brand's goals. Essentially, they're broad topics that can be broken down into more specific content pieces. For example, let's say you had a fitness YouTube channel, then your content pillars could include workout routines, nutrition, and mental health. By establishing these content pillars, you ensure that your content remains relevant, focused, and valuable for your audience, making it easier to plan and maintain a consistent content schedule. So now I have 3 content pillars: shooting tips and techniques, editing tutorials, and YouTube growth, just like the video that you're watching right now. Occasionally I might do gear reviews or a Q&A, but for the most part I stick to these 3 pillars. If I was just relying on content about shooting techniques, then this would get boring. Also, during the winter months where it consistently rains here in the UK, I'm now able to shoot videos indoors, whether this is an editing tutorial or tips on growing on YouTube. I'm not relying on the weather to dictate whether I can shoot a video or not. This is just a sensible strategy that I wish I'd implemented sooner. So be sure to diversify your content formats and keep things fresh and appeal to different segments of your audience. Experiment with various video types like tutorials, reviews, vlogs, and Q&A sessions to see what videos you enjoy making and which ones your audience respond to best. Okay, so if you've made it this far into the video, firstly, well done. And secondly, I know you're probably really excited about implementing all of these ideas. However, I do think it's really important to be honest with you about some of the downsides to YouTube. This part is where a lot of people click away, but if you're still here, then you're probably pretty serious. So let's talk about some of the hard truths of YouTube. YouTube is incredible. It can change your life, help you build an audience, and even become your full-time career, but it's also tough. It takes time, consistency, and more patience than what most people realize. So here are a few truths that I think you should hear before you decide whether this platform is right for you or not. Not trying to put you off, I promise. I'm just trying to be real. So let's start with what a lot of people underestimate when it comes to YouTube, and that is the never-ending learning curve. Running a YouTube channel is so much more than just hitting record and uploading a video. You're essentially a one-person production crew. First, you need to script your content or at least plan it in a way to keep viewers engaged. You need to be able to operate a camera, framing, focus, exposure, all the minute technical aspects of getting a professional looking image. Lighting, that's an entire skill set on its own because bad lighting can ruin even the best video ideas. All of this, of course, costs money and requires investment. Then there's sound design. Poor audio will make people click away faster than bad visuals. Once you've shot all of your footage, there's video editing. You'll need a good understanding of software to piece everything together while keeping it engaging. You'll need to be able to create eye-catching thumbnails, write compelling titles, and market your video on social platforms for it to even be seen. And just when you think you've mastered everything, trends will change, whether this is a new editing style, a trending topic, or a platform update. You'll constantly need to adapt and learn. So if you're not prepared to wear all of these hats, YouTube might not be right for you. Okay, question time. On a scale of 1 to 10, how easily offended are you? 10 being very easily offended. Have you ever had someone say to you,
"God, you look terrible. Did you not get any sleep last night?"
Or have you ever created something only for someone to say,
"Yeah, I didn't like it. I thought it was a giant pile of crap"?
Well, if you haven't, then buckle up, because as a YouTuber, you'll be under constant criticism. Criticism is something that every YouTuber faces. Once your videos are out in the world, it's fair game for anyone to judge. Comments like, "Your voice is annoying," "This is a waste of time," or "Why is your head shaped like a potato?" All of this can and will happen. It doesn't matter how polished or professional your video is, someone will always find something negative to say. But it's not just the people. YouTube itself can feel like it's criticizing you. Have you ever uploaded a video and seen those dreaded rankings, 9 of 10 or 10 of 10 compared to your previous uploads? It's like the platform is telling you that you failed. If you're not someone that can brush off those comments or let go of those metrics, it can take a serious toll on your mental health. The constant judgment from both viewers and the algorithm can feel incredibly overwhelming. If you can't handle criticism, YouTube might not be for you. You could, of course, turn off the comments, but then your videos will get no engagement, which the algorithm doesn't like, and then that ruins it for anyone that does want to leave a positive comment. Either way, you're gonna need some thick skin to protect you from the criticism from either the audience, the algorithm, or both. To succeed on YouTube, you need more than just creative skills. You need emotional resilience. It's about learning to take criticism without letting it crush you, understanding that not every video is gonna be a hit, and finding value in the process of creating rather than just the results. At the end of the day, YouTube is a powerful platform with incredible opportunities, but the emotional toll it takes shouldn't be underestimated. If you're not prepared for the ups and downs, it can leave you feeling drained and disheartened. The key is to focus on what you can control and celebrate your progress, and remember that your worth isn't tied to numbers. Okay. Here's another question for you. How important is your income? How much do you rely on a steady paycheck? Because the next reason you might not want to start a YouTube channel is the unstable nature of YouTube. YouTube is not a stable career path. Life happens. You get sick, have a family emergency, or just need a break. But guess what? YouTube does not care. Miss a couple of uploads and your performance takes a hit. Your views drop, your revenue drops, and the algorithm might stop recommending your videos altogether. If your videos don't get views and you're relying on YouTube for either a part-time or even worse, a full-time income, then your revenue is going to take a serious hit. Whether this is through AdSense, affiliate marketing, without views, your income will take a massive nosedive. Revenue can be a very unstable factor. Ad revenue fluctuates based on views, seasons, and advertisers. Sponsors, now they're great, but they do come with deadlines and expectations. The pressure is consistent. I've worked with many brands over the years, some of which I would never work with again, whether this is due to late payments, diva-ish demands, or just wanting to take too much creative control over the channel. Equally, I've been incredibly lucky and worked with some amazing brands over the years. But if you're not someone who is at the stage of working with great brands and can't handle the instability, whether this is financially or emotionally, then this might not be the right path for you. The grind is relentless, the income is unstable, and it's not always easy to keep up. Okay, let's talk about the emotional toll when it comes to YouTube. Being a YouTuber doesn't just challenge your skills, it challenges your emotions. You're constantly comparing yourself to other creators. You see their videos getting more views, more likes, and you start wondering, what am I doing wrong? The algorithm is relentless. It doesn't care how much effort you put into a video. It only cares about performance. You can spend weeks crafting a video, pouring your heart and soul into it, and it might still flop. The feeling of failure is something that you'll face over and over again, regardless of how good you are at making videos. As creators, we tend to take our success or lack thereof personally. The number of views, likes, and comments feels like a direct reflection of our value as a content creator. When the numbers don't match up, it's natural to start questioning your abilities. You may start thinking, is my content good enough? Is this even worth pursuing? If you struggle with self-esteem or find it difficult to separate yourself from the stats, YouTube can take a serious toll on your mental health, and I don't say this lightly. I know a lot of creators who have struggled with their mental health due to YouTube or social media. And I know what some of you will be thinking, well, boo-hoo, just go get a normal job. Well, that's exactly the point of this video. Maybe YouTube isn't for you. Maybe you should consider just getting a normal job. Unless you have a team, YouTube is often a very solitary journey. You're the writer, the director, editor, marketer, and more. Without peers to share the workload and provide support, the isolation can become emotionally draining. The constant grind to meet deadlines, produce quality content, and stay relevant can lead to burnout. When you're exhausted, even the smallest of tasks can feel monumental, and the joy of creating fades away pretty quickly. If you're not resilient, or you feel that your mental health could suffer due to any of this, then maybe YouTube isn't right for you. So, is YouTube worth it? Now, with all that said, YouTube isn't all doom and gloom. It can be an incredibly creative outlet. It's a chance for you to share your passion with the world, connect with like-minded people, and even build a business around something that you love. But it is important to go in with your eyes wide open. YouTube is hard work. It will most likely take years to succeed, and it's not for everyone. If you're ready for criticism, the steep learning curve, the instability, and the emotional challenges, it can be an incredibly rewarding experience. The key is understanding what you're getting into and making sure that it aligns with your goals, values, and strengths. If it does, then YouTube might just be the perfect fit for you. So if this video hasn't completely put you off, then congratulations, YouTube is for you, but you are going to need to know how to shoot professional looking videos. So if you'd like to learn some smartphone filmmaking tips and techniques, then be sure to check out my 1-hour masterclass by clicking here. But that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.